Hello, everybody, and welcome back to NCAA 2004. And we are here, firmly underway in our gauntlet of a season, and it continues now finally in SEC play against the Arkansas Razorbacks. This is, not the first SEC game. We always play Kentucky, but we always skip over it because Kentucky is yet to be good in the 8 years that we've been here at Alabama taking over the Crimson Tide program. But Arkansas has been pretty good, except for last year, which was weird. We didn't watch Arkansas last year because Arkansas had a down year last year. They finished 7-6. 6 of those 7 wins all came in conference, though. So Arkansas actually had a pretty good chance of contending for the SEC title game, despite being just a game over 500. It's a very weird situation for them. But they did lose their bowl game, so they finished 7-5. But they did lose their bowl game. They got blown out by Ohio State, absolutely blown out in the Capital One Bowl. But yeah, because of their placement in the conference, they actually did end up qualifying for the Capital One Bowl. So they, I think Capital One Bowl is 2 SEC and 2 Big Ten. I think that's how the tie-in works. So I think Arkansas, with their meddling season, still found themselves in a pretty good position, perhaps a position that they shouldn't have even been in at all. But looking over now the rest of the outlook for this game here, they have a pretty old team. There's a receiver who I think was even on the team in the last few seasons that we saw when we played them a couple of years ago. Sick David is 6-2 against Arkansas all time, so the prospects are looking pretty good. Those 2 losses came back-to-back years in year 2 and year 3, and we beat them by an average margin of about 12 points. So that's what you can expect from this game, but there's no guarantees whatsoever, as Arkansas is already moving offensively. Is their quarterback Garen Rice? I think it's Garen. It's spelled with a G. It could be Jaron or Garen. It's not a real name. No one has that name. But fast forward to a 3rd and 3 now inside the 30, and now they're going to hand it off. Price is going to hand off to the running back Felix Massey, who's going to bounce outside and get across the 20. But more importantly, he's going to get the first down and continue Arkansas's drive. Massey hasn't done a whole lot in a year, but across his 2 years for the team here, he's had 2 years as a starter, at least, he's had himself some impressive numbers, over 1,000 yards and 12 total touchdowns. So, but this time it's going to go to the fullback, Jacob Lang, actually. He's going to run right up the middle here in a short yardage situation and continue Arkansas's drive even further. So on a 2nd and goal here, Price looking where to go with the ball, and it's going to get picked off in the end zone. And I think he tried to kneel there, but he got tackled from behind. I don't know, ref, do something here. Do something about that. But it's Tyler Kennedy, the strong safety, who is now starting for us this year, one of our newer starters this year at that position here, as we've been loaded at the safety position for so many years, but and it seems to still be the case here as we're getting some production out of that position here. So Barton here on the run floats one up into, I don't even want to call that triple coverage, because it's not even really fair to say that our receiver was actually in the vicinity. It was just 3 Arkansas players waiting, but he repays the favor. Barton repays the favor back to the Arkansas defense here after we get a nice little boost on offense from Tyler Kennedy. Barton's just going to squander all of that good grace away and just give it right on back to the Razorbacks offense. So 3rd and 4 here, Price. He's going to hand it off to the fullback, Lang. He's going to try and spin away, find some open space here, and it looks like he might have just gotten the first down, just barely gotten that first down. He's pounding his chest, indicating that he probably did. So 1st and 10 for the Razorbacks here inside the 25. Price going to fake the handoff here. He's going to roll all the way out, and then fires one to an open receiver. It's Willie Mercer, the junior, who's going to haul it in here inside the 10. And now Arkansas looking to threaten to score once again here. They came up empty last time, but now on 3rd and goal here late in the first quarter. Price going to hand this one off to Massey once again, and Massey's going to get absolutely stuffed by Cunningham. So one of the bigger defensive players on our team, who's still here from last year, Kellen Cunningham, comes up big here on 3rd and goal. And now the first quarter is going to come to a close, and Arkansas is going to have to cap off this drive here to start off the 2nd quarter. So on 4th and goal, kick is up, and it is good. So after a full first quarter of play with nothing happening on the scoreboard, Arkansas finally adds 3 points to it. And now we got to figure something out here on offense, as Arkansas has controlled the game for the most part, but we can't, and now the Razorbacks back on offense, and Massey here breaking out into some open space and getting across the 50 here and into Alabama territory. So again, our defense here is doing everything that it can, but it looks like our offense has really not shown up to the game too terribly much. And we're going to let the Razorbacks run all over us, apparently. And again, as I stated, Massey's been pretty, all right for the Razorbacks, but he hasn't been super effective across his 2 seasons as a starter here. It's really just kind of been one. He's taken 2 seasons to have one great season. But Garen Price finally going to get something working through the air for the Razorbacks, as a deep shot downfield is going to end up in the hands of an Arkansas receiver for a 1st and goal. And now on 3rd and goal, they're going to go back to Massey once again, who is not going to get in there. And it's Dominic Witten who's able to snuff this run play out and shut down any potential prospects for the Razorbacks. Now on 4th and goal, another field goal attempt, and the kick is good. So 6-0 now the score. So it's pretty much been an entire first half. Arkansas has been able to pretty much keep our offense silenced here, but it's still only a 1-possession game. So if we can get something going here on offense, we'll be back in business. And on 2nd and 2, Barton takes a deep shot downfield, and it's going to be caught here for a nice first down. That's Max Price who's able to haul it in. Now at the 45 here, Barton back to pass. Good protection up front. Unloads it here to the other side of the field, and it's Thomas Samples who at least is probably going to get the first down. And now we're going to run with some tempo here. Under a minute left to go, only 49 seconds. Barton back up to the line here, going to take the snap, kind of a shallow drop back there, but he gets rid of the football quickly, and it's caught by Baker. The freshman, the new 89, Stephen Baker, is going to catch it here. So now getting close to about 30 seconds on a 2nd and 2 inside the 30. And pressure is on to Barton on the run. He's going to make a wobbler of a pass, and it's caught by Dimitri Lehman, who catches that one for a touchdown. So we saw heading into this game here, he's already got 9 rushing touchdowns heading into the game here. But we're not really looking or expecting for the receiving production to be a huge factor for us. We didn't expect rushing touchdowns or receiving touchdowns to be something we had to look for. But he's got one in this game. So the second quarter is going to come to a close, and we finally take the lead over Arkansas, but it's only 1 touchdown. So 7-6 is your score heading into the second half. A low-scoring affair here. And so Price through the air, it's going to get picked off once again. He's going to get picked off by Neil Goodwin, the free safety. So both safeties now tapping in with interceptions. And Price, one thing to note about Price, man, is he turns the ball over a lot. In his first 2 seasons as a starter, he's got 23 interceptions versus just 28 touchdowns. So he does turn the ball over quite a bit for Arkansas. It's not really something that you want to see here. And he's really only throwing for 2,000 plus yards every season as well. So you'd like to see a little bit more out of your quarterback position if you're the Arkansas Razorbacks, considering where they have been in the previous seasons. But now they've just set up the Crimson Tide with another opportunity here. But on 3rd and 9, the defense is showing some strong resistance. Barton got to find an opening, and that ball is tipped by a linebacker and ends up in the hands of Thomas Samples. So we've been getting some divine luck that way in the previous game so far in this season, and Thomas Samples gets another kind of a gimme reception here, as the linebacker really just directed that ball into his hands. That ball was probably just going to sail its way down the middle of the field, but it ends up in Thomas Samples' hands. So 3rd quarter down to a close. Now we are building up for a very intense 4th quarter, as Dimitri Lehman cannot get inside of the end zone here on a short handoff. And now a decision to be made here for Sick Naben. He's just going to send out John Bellamy and the kicking team to try and nail this one through, and he does. So 10-6 now the score. I don't know if I agree with that call here, because your lead kind of stays the same. Obviously 10 points still helps if we can manage to score again, but Arkansas still in a good position. But we have the ball once again across the 50 on a 3rd and 2. Barton fires this one off, and it's going to be caught here, and I think that was the tight end. It looked like it was maybe the tight end, Broderick Black. I think it is. And it is. The sophomore Broderick Black, the tight end. We haven't called him too much. We usually use the tight end a lot, but I don't think we've used him too much in the season so far. So another 3rd down for the Crimson Tide offense here. Barton again, good coverage up front here, takes a shot towards the end zone, and it's going to be caught for a touchdown, and it's Max Price surrounded by Razorbacks, but Barton finding a way to just fit that ball exactly where it needs to go for another Crimson Tide touchdown. And so there, finally, the offense is getting a little bit of rhythm here. We're finally firing a little bit, and an 11-point lead now is going to be over Arkansas. It's certainly a good place to be in the final quarter of the game, but nothing is set in stone. Arkansas can still do something. With only a minute and some change left, though, they've wasted a lot of time, and Price is able to hit Willie Mercer once again, who's really just kind of been everything for Arkansas's offense in this game so far. But there you can see his career stats. He hasn't really been super effective. That's why I haven't mentioned any of the receiver stats for Arkansas, because none of them have been really all that dazzling or impressive to look at. So Price wasting a lot of time here, down to about a minute here. He's going to throw again, takes a shot towards the end zone. He's going to airmail that one out of bounds. And that will at least stop the clock and give both teams a chance to catch their breath and get the right units and personnel out there. So now 2nd and 10 here in an offset eye. Price runs out of the pocket here, scrambles out, dumps it off quickly here, and he finds A.J. Jones, kind of the third receiver listed on the depth chart, for another completion inside the red zone. Price now dropping back to pass here. He's going to dump this one off quickly to the tight end, Dimitri Simon, who's built just like a fullback, but it is a tight end. He is. So now with 40 seconds, Arkansas still kind of running with some tempo here. The first down, they didn't get it, so it doesn't stop the clock or anything. So Price is going to go for a spike, even though they really just kind of need to take the shots at the end zone, man. So they need 2 possessions to score, and they only have 34 seconds. So they got to score like right now if they still want to be in this game. And they do it, man. I guess he must have heard me. I guess maybe Garen Price thinks I'm a better coach than the actual coach of Arkansas, because finally they are able to strike here in this quick little 2-minute drive, really with just a minute drive that they're trying to run here, as Price manages to hit the top receiver, Carnell Cage, who's been around for a while on this Razorback team. And now they're going to try and go for 2 to get back into the game, and it's going to get picked off, and now this one is heading the other way, as C.J. Bennett's got this one picked off on the 2-point conversion, and he's going to return it the entire way. No one's even in the vicinity outside of Willie Mercer, and now it's not just a failed 2-point conversion, but we convert to extend it back to a 7-point game. So not only does Arkansas fail to make it a 3-point game, we now make it a 7-point game, and off of the onside kick, Arkansas couldn't get the ball back, so that's going to be it for the Razorbacks, and we're going to win our 7th game in the Sick Naben era against Arkansas, man. And this is the first, or not first, but last year was the first time that we had played an Arkansas team that was not ranked. I think they might have been ranked at the time when I was doing the sim. They might have gotten ranked for that game, and then I beat them and they weren't ranked, but I couldn't verify that. So they were unranked for the rest of the season, so I just assumed that they were. But a 1 versus 11 is not even the highest ranking between our two teams. There was 3 years in a row where we were 1 or 2, and they were 7 or 8. So that's kind of how things go in this rivalry for some reason. So Arkansas makes it in the red zone 4 times and only walks away with really 2 field goals. It's really the big thing. So that might be the big kind of tail of the tape there. Arkansas had a lot of opportunities on offense and couldn't really capitalize on most of them. And then obviously the turnovers, especially from Price, was a huge thing to kind of note here. Ryan Barton continues to keep the completion percentage pretty high. The interceptions, not a thing I like to look at, especially when you only have 2 touchdowns. But we won the game, so there's not much to really hang your hat on with Barton's performance. He did well. Dimitri Guliman, however, on that side of the ball, was completely silenced, man. So we're still looking for him to break that 10-touchdown mark that J.J. Wright had last year. And I still believe he can do it. I think he'll smash through it. But now in SEC play, man, these teams might be a little bit more expecting of our running capabilities. So we got to be more prepared for that and watch for that. But we managed to beat Georgia coming out of the sim here, another game that we don't really watch because Georgia just has not been all that good in the years that we've been doing this. But that's going to take us into our final out-of-conference game against Florida State, who, of course, we beat last year in the Sugar Bowl. That we beat the Seminoles, and now we're going to potentially beat them again. But Florida State's looking for their own revenge as well, so I hope to see you guys back in Tuscaloosa when we play the Florida State Seminoles once again.